Hello again, second graders. Flora and Ulysses time. Now, as you might recall from yesterday, Flora's mother was forcing Ulysses to type something he did not want to type. The chapter ended with, "And then, stunned into a dumb willingness, Ulysses typed every terrible, untrue word that came out of Phyllis Buckman's mouth." Yikes. Let's find out what those words were. Chapter 55, A Stone Squirrel. When he was finished, Flora's mother stood over his shoulder, reading and nodding and saying, that's right, that ought to do it. There are a few misspellings, but then you are a squirrel. Of course you're going to misspell things." She lit another cigarette and leaned against the kitchen table and considered him. "Well, I guess it's time," she said. "Wait here. I'll be right back." And he did as she said. He waited. She left the kitchen, and he simply sat there, unmoving. It was as if she had put a spell on him, and it was as if typing the lies, the wrong words, had depleted him of all ability to act. Once, long ago, in a garden in springtime, Ulysses had seen a squirrel made of stone, gray, hollow-eyed, frozen, a statue. In his stone paws, he held a stone acorn that he would never get to eat. That squirrel was probably in the garden now, still holding that acorn and still waiting. "I am a stone squirrel," thought Ulysses. "I can't move." He looked over at the words he had typed. They were untrue words. Several of them were misspelled. There was no joy in them, no love. And worst of all, they were words that would hurt Flora. He turned slowly. He sniffed his tail. And as he sniffed, he remembered the words that Flora had shouted at him in the giant donut. "Remember who you are. You're Ulysses." This helpful advice had been followed by a single powerful word. Act. He heard the sound of footsteps. What should he do? What action should he take? He should type. He should type a word. But what word? Chapter 56, Kidnapped. She woke with a start. The house was incredibly dark, so dark that Flora wondered if she had gone temporarily blind. "Ulysses?" she said. She sat up and stared in the direction of the door. Slowly the rectangular outline of it appeared, and then she could see that it was ajar. "Ulysses?" she said again. She got out of bed and went down the darkened stairs and past the little shepherdess. "You stupid lamp," she said. She made her way into the kitchen. It was empty. The typewriter was unmanned, or unsquirreled. That means there wasn't a person or a squirrel at the typewriter. "Ulysses?" said Flora. She walked over to the typewriter and saw a piece of paper glowing white in the dim light. "Uh-oh," she said. She leaned in close. She squinted as she read. "Dear Flora, I am terribly fond of you, but I hear the call of the wild, and I must return to my natural habitat. Thank you for the macaroni and cheese. Yours truly, Mr. Squirrel." Mr. Squirrel? Call of the wild? Terribly fond? It was the biggest lie Flora had ever read in her life. It didn't look like Ulysses had written it at all. Only at the very end did the truth appear. 2 letters, F and L. That was Ulysses, she knew, trying to type her name one last time, trying to tell her that he loved her. "I love you too," she whispered to the paper. And then she looked around the kitchen. What kind of cynic was she, whispering, "I love you" to a squirrel who wasn't even there? But she did love him. She loved his whiskers. She loved his words. She loved his happiness, his little head, his determined heart, his nutty breath. She loved how beautiful he looked when he flew. She felt her heart seize up. Why hadn't she told him that? She should have said those words to him. But that didn't matter now. What mattered was finding him. Flora hadn't been reading The Criminal Element for 2 years for nothing. She knew what was going on. The squirrel had been kidnapped by her mother. She took a deep breath. She considered what to do, what action to take. In the event of a true and genuine emergency, an absolute and undeniable crime, the authorities must be notified immediately, said the criminal element. Flora was certain that this was a true and genuine emergency, an absolute and undeniable crime. Still, it didn't seem like a good idea to notify the authorities. If she called the police, what would she say? My mother kidnapped my squirrel? The criminal element said, if for some reason the authorities are not accessible to you, then you must seek help in other quarters. Whom do you trust? Whom do you know to be a safe port in a storm? Flora suddenly remembered her dream, how warm William Spiver's hand had felt in her own. Whom? She blushed. Whom did she trust? Good grief, she trusted William Spiver. Oh my goodness gracious. Tomorrow will be chapter 57. Tootie to the rescue. My gosh, I've never read this book before, so I'm reading it for the first time with you, and I have no idea what's going to happen. Ooh, I'm making a prediction. I'm making a prediction that Flora, William, and Tootie will rescue Ulysses. And I also have a prediction that Flora's mom will come around and understand how wonderful Ulysses is, and she'll be sorry about all this mischief she caused. That's my prediction. That's my hope. Anywho, I will see you tomorrow. I hope you have a nice day. It's beautiful outside right now, so I hope you get outside for a little bit. Get some fresh air, some vitamin D. Get your yayas out.